Hey, what's happening, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. This is my buddy Tyson. Tyson pulled up on me on a Saturday with a head full of leave-in conditioner. I think he was fresh out of the shower. What I'm doing right now is I'm clipping the hair that I don't want to cut out of my way so that it doesn't inadvertently fall in the line of my clippers. Yeah. So I believe his goal is to get dreads. So I don't want to mess that up. So I'm gonna clip that hair, get it out the way. Now we're doing a mid drop fade. It's gonna be a light mid drop fade. Now I've been cutting Tyson's hair for a little over a year now. One of the things that I pride myself on is relationships. Every time he comes in, I check in with him, see how school's going, his sports, all the stuff that I believe Tyson's in band. Try to develop a personal relationship so that it makes him want to come get a haircut. And he knows that, you know what I'm saying, if he ever has anything he wants to chit chat about, he can holler with me. So now this is, again, we're doing a light mid fade with a drop. So I got my clippers, I got the teeth half open, so I got about 2 clicks. Now what I do, I always scoop out or flick out. Some people refer to that as the C-stroke method. But I create my initial guideline this way. I feel like when you turn your clippers upside down and you close them all the way and you create that guideline, a couple things could happen. One, you could scratch the client, but also those initial guidelines, when you put them in that way, they're a lot harder to get out. And so, for me, I predicate my game on speed. So obviously the goal is to do a very good job, but if I could do a very good job in 15 minutes, then that puts me in a situation where I can make more money because I get to see more clients if I take less time on each client. So I just opened up my clippers a little bit more. I think I went to 3 clicks at this point. So I'm still scooping out at my initial guideline. Now I'm just bringing it up slightly higher. And I've already begun the fading process. He's got really soft hair, but really tight curls. So in a minute, you're gonna see that I comb out everything to make sure that once we get into the part where the fade is gonna be more gradual, that when I comb it, it's gonna make it a little bit easier to make that fade smooth. But I'm constantly turning the client as I get fading. A lot of people will start on one side of the head and just work that one side. I'm all over the place. But again, I'm flicking out. I call this some people refer to this as the C-stroke motion. But I scoop out, comb the hair, make sure that I don't have any tight curls or naps in that space. Now in real time, I believe this cut only took like 15, 14 minutes, something like that, which is clutch on a Saturday. This particular Saturday, we had 21 walk-ins. So there was a lot of opportunity to make money. I believe I ended up jumping in the mix and getting like 4 or 5 of them. But it was only because I was able to, get through each cut in around 20 minutes. Make sure that when you are moving around the ear, make sure you pull that air out the way. Ears tend to be sensitive, and for whatever reason, they bleed so bad. So make sure that you don't catch somebody's ear. I can't even front. I've done that 1,000 times. It never makes the client happy. But I think more importantly, if the mom sees that her baby is in distress or uncomfortable, that's a quick way to end a relationship. So make sure you're taking care of the little things, because those things can have a big impact on you. Barbers get hired and fired every day for the trivialist of reasons. Sometimes you know why, and sometimes you didn't see it coming. So avoid hurting them ears if you can. Now, like I've got this on mute, but the father is talking to me right now. It's very important while you're in barber school or cosmetology school to work on being able to multitask, work on being able to have a conversation while cutting hair. I think a lot of times because you're learning, you're so laser focused on the learning. But you really, by the time you get out of school, you want to be able to talk and chew bubble gum. I'm sorry, walk and chew bubble. Hell, walk, talk, and chew bubble gum at the same time because you don't want to have a conversation slow down your haircut. You don't want to not talk to your client because a lot of times, they got stuff they want to say, ask, talk about, share. Some of them got, have had a rough week and they want an unbiased, ear to listen to them vent, complain, brag, whatever it is. So now, one of the principles of fading is that the higher you go up, the longer the hair will be, right? So, like, I've never, I'm sure they exist, but I've never seen a haircut where it's short on the top and longer on the sides as you go down. I don't think that's a thing, but I could be wrong. But what you want to do is make sure that the higher you go up on the head, the longer you leave the hair. So right now he's got a very light, base. The bottom of his fade is very light, and progressively we get to all the hair on top. Now what I'm doing here is I'm using the corners to work out some of the stuff that wasn't faded properly at the bottom. So like right here, I got my clippers at an angle. I'm about to turn them just a little bit so that I can keep working that fade out. Um, Sorry for the pause in the action. I think I had to change out my clippers because one of my, nope, same clipper. Um, but yeah, so I'm working the fade in. I'm doing that angle. So his hair, there's a current in the back of his head that's kind of pushing his hair all going toward his left side. Now, this is still, I'm using a one right here, but once I get that bottom part of this little weight line, once I get that out, I'm going to go to a 1.5. Yeah, so here's the 1.5. I'm just gradually bringing this up. Now, this is a very popular haircut amongst coarse hair. You'll see different kids with different lengths of hair on top, but this is the most, besides a taper, this is the most popular, most common haircut I do. Now here I got my teeth basically all the way open, and I'm just I'm kind of grooving out that little the remaining guideline over here to make that fade happen. Always combing down and make sure that I got it faded properly. Now the most important thing, at least for me, the most important principle I use is I flick my wrist out. A lot of barbers just go straight up and down, but I kind of groove it. My wrists are very fluid. I'm always flicking out. I basically C-stroke myself, all the way through a haircut. I don't want to say never, but I rarely ever go straight up and down into a person's scalp. If you look, you can see it from the side right here. I'm flicking my wrist. I got my pivot point is happening in my wrist. See what I'm saying? I'm scooping out and I'm kind of pulling back on my clipper. So like even here, when I'm working on the fade with no guard, I'm still flicking out, just to make sure that I don't create a new guideline. I feel like when you go straight up and down without any, wrist action, all you're doing is just bringing that guideline up. And that's not what you want to do. You want to keep, you want the haircut to have a nice flow. It needs to make sense. It needs to visually make sense. So if I can encourage you to do anything, get more, make your wrist motion more fluid. I'm telling you, this will help with your timing, with the speed of the cut. I can't tell you how many barbers that I know for a fact would take at least an hour, if not an hour and a half, on this haircut, and it's not necessary. It is not necessary. You can get this cut done, I'm telling you, in 15 minutes. It's that simple, and I'm talking edge up and all. Speaking of edge ups, when I do an edge up, you'll hear me say this a lot, but I rarely look at a client straight up and start the edge up. I usually just start from whatever side I happen to be on, and what I'll do is I'll just edge up what I see. I'll try to keep the edge up as low as I possibly can, so that I edge up what I see. If you are in a situation where you have to go up on both sides, you've already messed up. If you got to bring each corner up, that's a bad thing, because that means that you created an edge up, and that is more likely to grow back faster. It's just not a good look. Now, I have some clients that have so much hair, and it's so close to their eyebrows, and I literally got one client. I can't wait until I see him again. I'm gonna make a video of him. His edge up, I literally have to create an edge up, but that's a rare occurrence. Most people, their edge ups are already close enough to where they're supposed to be. Your job is just to chisel that out and make it more defined. But you never want to create an edge up unless the situation calls for it. And like I said, I got one client that every time I see this brother, I got to build him an edge up. His hair, he has so much. His hair growth pattern is all over the place. It damn near comes down to his eyebrows. The boy got hair all over his forehead. But Tyson doesn't have that situation. So again, when you start the edge it up as low as possible. Then look the client right in the face and figure out, okay, is the left side lower than the right side, or vice versa? And then you bring that side up. Whatever side is low, you bring it up. But try to avoid having to bring both sides up, because that just means you done already made a mistake. Tyson is one of the few people in Texas that want to keep his sideburns. Most people in Texas don't do sideburns for whatever reason, but this young man wants them. So keep that in mind. But I use this method called rock and roll. I rock my wrist. As you see, like, it's a little bit of a pivot point, a little hinge right there. And then I'm gonna pull the skin down, I'm gonna stretch the skin, and then I'm gonna roll my clippers, or roll my trimmers over the corner, over the curve. See, I squared him up. I looked him directly in the face to see if both corners are where they should be. I gotta come up just a tad bit more.
Beautiful. All right, great. All right. Now you're good. And I'll put it back on my hook guard. Hey, here's
I guess I didn't end up doing my little roll part of that. No, I got to keep it a buck. And watching this video, I realized that I didn't give that other sideburn a smooth transition. So, like this sideburn we're looking at right now, I didn't give this kid a smooth transition, and it does happen, especially on a busy day like a Saturday. Um, that's no excuse. I should have got this right. But now watching this video, I realize I whiffed on that one. I should have brought that. I should have brought that to a smooth transition. So shame on me for that. But it does happen. Now I took the guard. I'm sorry. I took the clips off of the head so that I can do his edge up. When you do an edge up, you want to let the hair fall where it's going to, because if you do the edge up with a clip in his hair, a lot of times that clip creates tension and it pulls the hair in a way that when you take the clip out, the edge up might look jagged. And if it looks jagged, you then got to go up to the highest point of where that jagged edge up is, and so you might end up bringing the edge up back a quarter inch to a half inch depending on how much tension those clips created. So as you'll notice, what I'm doing now, I'm just gently moving the hair out of my way to do the edge up so that his scalp doesn't really move at all. And then you look him dead in the face just to make sure that the edge up is as straight as possible. Now with edge ups, less is more. I cannot reiterate enough. Less is more. Too many barbers and stylists are doing it for the gram. You can give your client a crispy edge up in the shop, and take a picture of it and put it on your Instagram to attract other clients, but you can probably lose that client because when you bring their edge up too far back just to make it super defined, that client's edge up is going to grow back so much faster that way, and it's just going to leave them with a bad experience. I've gotten so many clients because a previous barber brought the edge up too wide or too deep, and the clients are always like, yeah, it looked good when I got out the chair, but by the time I got home I realized, damn, my edge up is real far back. Or a day or two later when it starts to grow back in, clients realize like, yo, this ain't it. And so I I eat off of the fact that I do very little to make an edge up pop. Like I can make it pop just by doing a crisp, precise job. But going deep into an edge up is a recipe for disaster. Now, another thing that I always hear clients tell me is that their barber or stylist never shows them a mirror. They just do their haircut and kick them out the shop. That is not how you make clients, man. Give your client an opportunity to say, hey, this is uneven, this is, this is lower than I wanted, or I need you to take more off at this spot. Give your client the opportunity to add their input to make sure that they have the best haircut possible. Otherwise, they're just going to keep shop hopping and chair hopping until they find the person that does exactly what they want, how they want it. This video is pretty much over. I appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to teach you a little something about how I work. Please like, subscribe, and share.